Hello and welcome back. As promised last week and the week before, a bit more TC. Now this isn't the TC Pacific we were looking at before. This is a slightly later one, still Mark II couplings, and it's in polystyrene, and the bogie has the coupling on it now, and the cowcatcher is all dropped down onto the cowcatcher. If you have a look at the insert picture or the drop-in footage there, you'll be able to see the two models together, the older one with the cowcatcher moulded into the body, and this newer one. I just thought it would be wise to put the one with a very delicate cowcatcher on the front away in case of accident. So I've got this one out, which is slightly later. It's got the white line along the tender. Still a lovely smooth runner. I've got a stock car, and an oil tank wagon, and a box car, and a caboose on the end there. So we'll just bring this lot to a stop. We'll have a quick glance over it in a second. I'm going to rotate the camera. I've got a number of other things to have a look at. Catalogues and a couple of printouts. And you can see I've got a single-ended diesel there with the dummy unit and some silver and red coaches sitting waiting to go. I keep saying I'm going to bring this to a stop, don't I? But I haven't. Let's genuinely bring it to a stop. So also you notice I've got an extra loop of Series 3 here. Let's stop that there. There we go. So let's just put the controls down for a second. We'll get some notes, shall we? We'll get a couple of notes. Let's have a look here. So TC Pacifics, these were around from about 54 to 64, and I think then there were some sort of later variants made for the Canadian market, possibly Australian market, and one with a Scotsman tender. So there's earlier videos you can look on there, so you can see this doesn't have the cowcatcher moulded into the bodywork, so it's not as delicate. So that's a very delicate item. But apart from that, it's very, very similar. The decals on this are of a nature where when I got this out of the box, there are bits floating off it. So I don't know whether you remember the acetate one. This isn't acetate, this is polystyrene. I think it's got no bend or shift in it. So, but the decals seem to be very, very delicate on this. A little bit like this, not Caboose, gondola car here. If you just have a look at those are just flaking away. So yeah, I'm still having trouble with the coughing and speech. So look at those. If you rub your finger along those will just come off. Very, very light adhesive, or I think it's probably just age really. But again, very, very pretty. No smoke, no light in this one. Again, later units had the lights and smoke in there. So what have we got here? We've got a stock car, R126. It's got metal ladders on it. The doors do open, but I think I've encouraged them to stay shut. Mark II couplings. I think these were available sort of 57 through to 65. They're available in brown as well. I'm sure we've had a brown one on the railway in the past. Let's get right down low there and get in and have a look. So it's riveting detail on those uprights as well, isn't there? Quite lovely things. I think that was adapted for the battle space range. Had a sniper out the top of it, and the giraffe car. I think the same model was used for that. And there we've got an oil tanker, R117, a gorgeous blue, isn't it? Again, a very, very delicate decal on there. Let's get in and have a look at that. And we've got some text underneath there, a bit difficult to see in the shadows. So these are available 55 through to 65, I think, and maybe possible different colour variations. I think there's a red one, yellow, and the green one is the one I haven't got. I don't have a green one. So let's just have a look over the top there. Then we've got a box car. Again, this one's suffering from the writing coming away from the sides, very, very lightly applied. It is age. I mean, these things are ancient. So this box car dates from between, excuse me, 1954 and 1960. I think the moulding went on to form the words will come to me at the moment, track cleaning car, I think is what I'm looking for. I think that is the moulding that was adapted to make the track cleaning car. Again, the doors do open, but again, I've encouraged those to stay stay shut. You see ladder detail moulded in, unlike the stock car. Let's go around to the other corner of the stock car here. Stock car's got separately fitted metal ladders, so often missing. So we'll just whiz down here to the Caboose. We've seen this one before. It's got the very large steps on it. Great overhangs. R.55, again, I think 1954 to 65. What did I say the box car was? 54 to about 60, I think. I'm getting mixed up with the dates already. But again, there were many variants of this. I think these were in different shades. I think went on. I think the dates I'm giving are just for the Triangle Railways variant. There were a number of Canadian variations made afterwards. Let me rotate the camera. Whoops. We'll get that around that way. Excuse me. We'll get that around that way. Perhaps we should just pop a couple of these off and have a quick look. There's wonderful bogies there. So I think those are the same ones in use on this great big 8-wheel tender there on the TC Pacific. I'll just zoom in a little bit, then maybe we'll get a little bit closer in and have a look. But it does get more shaky the longer the lens we get in there. So I think that's the same unit there. So we'll pop that back on the rails. Going to get into all sorts of a mess here, taking things on and off. So again, same bogies I think in use on the box car. Let's lift that one off. Look at that metal part there to hold the doors. I've got a flickering light in the room again. The light to my left has lost some of its LED sections. It hasn't lasted as well as the other two in the room. So time for some replacements, I think. Let's pop that on the rails there. We'll have a quick look over the tanker. It's lovely and shiny. I think this may be acetate. Not 100% sure. It has that sort of smell about it, although it doesn't have that much distortion. So again, quite lovely things. So wheels are reasonably clean on these. These are all unboxed apart from the Caboose. So these are some unboxed ones I have. Let's see if we can get that to couple up there. There we go. And then let's have a look at the stock car. Again, a separately fitted part on the bottom. So I think there may have been Canadian versions of these made. Definitely went on to Mark III style couplings. So quite pretty things. Do we have triangles now? We didn't search for these names all over them, but some have them on and some don't. I can't get focus quite in there. There we go. I can't read that through the camera, I have to admit. Trouble with the focus jumping from one place to another. So there we go. Quick look over the Pacific again, TC Pacific. So very, very similar, apart from it's not made of shiny acetate, this one. So let's put that back on. I don't know whether you noticed the rails here. So these are, I suppose they're not. It's not Series 3. It's some what they call yard lengths, although they were 39 inches in length. They were sold. They came along again 1958, I think. Let's just have a look at my notes. Yeah, 58, and I think they were available up until the arrival of Super 4 in 62. So somebody very kindly sent these to me. Let's just widen that. When I took the last layout down, and I built this board, and then we'd got all bogged down in the Series 3, and I never managed to use them, sadly. So I've been dying to get them down and have a go, but they're a fibre base, and they're very susceptible to damp, and they don't lie that flat. These are reasonably flat, they're pretty good, but there's a bit of a curl in the steel rail, I think, and the tension within them. And this one, I think they were sold in trade packets, perhaps of 12, so I can't remember how many I've got. I think I've got 4 down on the layout, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got 9. I think I have 9 of them. So it looks like there was a trade sticker there, the Triangle Railway sticker. That one's left stuck on the rails. So I think when we get more serious with Series 3, we'll get get great long runs of these down the back end of the railway there. But you can see this lovely plating on these rails. A little bit of blackening on the top, but that just does rub off with petrol quite nicely. I think one of these got a damage on the end. It looks like one of the rails has been chopped off shorter than the other. That one there. Strangely, the rail end there seems to have been chopped away. But anyway, I'm sure we can get around that. So they're really nice things. So they are R199 yard lengths from around 58 to 62. So let's have a quick glance at the 58 catalogue. We won't go all the way through it because I think we've seen through this one just quite recently. Let's just have a look at the track section. There we go. So we can see the Series 3 has been introduced here, and then we've got the yard length R199 there. What does it say about it? See if we can pick it out of there we go, yard length, and they call it flexible, although I don't fancy bending it myself. Let's have another look at it. I think the theory is that because it's loosely tagged to these fibre bases, you could sort of encourage it to go around curves. And if I'll put a drop-in picture, a catalogue picture, and there's you can see these used running round curves. This very rail set to curves. So I imagine you'd have to snip some of the fibre bases to encourage it round. But it seems, I think, a shame to try and introduce curves into those. But the person who sent me these, a very big thank you. It was hugely appreciated. I'm sorry it's taken so long to get around to using it. So we've got this trainer sitting on one there, and we've got one just sitting in here. So they're not quite as high. They don't. There is a little bit of a drop down there, so they could perhaps benefit from underlay under those, perhaps. But they seem to work quite nicely without it. So there we go. And I've got another one. They're all standard straights there. And we've got another one down there. So yeah, quite lovely things. So you can definitely cover a bit of footage with these. So we've got a couple of other things on the railway. I pointed out we've got the single-ended diesel over there, R.55. Let's grab some notes. So this variation has got the red end on it, and these models were made between sort of 55, 64 perhaps, and then later variants for the Canadian range, perhaps a bright orange one in the 70s, and possibly even touching into the very early Hornby Railways range. I can't quite remember the dates on it, but I've got a rake of the first series TC coaches with the red band down them. So let's give that a go. Let me see if I can swap the controllers around here. Actually, we'll just operate it from here. So let's run the other way around the railway. I'm going to swap hands with the controller, with the camera. Let's give that some power. Right, clunk into life as all those coaches take up the tension. Yeah, it'd be nice to pin some of this track down and improve the power feed. Makes a lovely whine on the rails. Oh, we'll slow that back down again. There we go, we've got the Vista Dome there and the observation car. I'm just going to swap to the handheld on that, so I'll swap that out. Swap that around. Those plugs only go in the one way around. They always fool me. So that's this one. Let's swap the camera around again and see if the light comes on the end as we move off. I've done something. I should have left that like that, shouldn't I? So this time we'll get a little power in there and see if that front end lights up. Yeah, you can just see that glowing, can't you? I've got to stop here. I've got all tangled up with the cabling here. So let's sort that out, and we'll go the other way around. So if you didn't have a camera in your hand, you'd simply pass this from one hand to the other, and you wouldn't have these problems. So let's get there. Coming through the station now. Let's get right down low there. And we'll bring that round to where we can have a bit of a look at it. Let's stop that there. I'm going to flip the camera around again. So we've got a couple of boxes here. So there we've got R.55 BB diesel loco. So that's a lift-off lid box. It's fairly reasonable condition. Let's have a look. I've got the there R.57 BB diesel loco non-powered. So I don't know whether that's something stamped on there or prices perhaps written in. But the box isn't as sophisticated for the dummy unit. Ah, there's a price look there, 15 and 6. So quite lovely things. So let's just have a look down them. So we've got the stripes on the front there, which often get damaged, and these do light up there. So the sort of the light bulb there spreads light into there. Quite a neat trick. So I think we saw the earlier unit just running up and down in a straight line in a few videos back. I know we've got the coaches. Let's get the numbers for the coaches so we can have a look. That's an awful colour pen, isn't it? Or pencil. Let's get that out of the shot. We'll flip around the... actually, we won't flip around that. Let's have a look there. So that's a baggage car R130. So all of these coaches were available between the mid-50s up to around 61 when I think 62 the second series TC range came in. Let's see if we can roll that forwards a little bit. And there we've got the coach, no seating unit in there. That's R24. So I think we're talking about the same mouldings as these. And let's roll that forwards and we'll get the Vista Dome there, R25. So I think when they went with the red stripe on, they didn't change the number. The silver ones carried the same model number as the ones with the red stripe. So you get that lovely bunch of seats in there. And let's roll that forward again and have a look at the observation car there. I'm not going to lift these ones off the track, so I think we've seen some of these coaches before, and you've got that sort of dummy lamp on the end. I always thought that'd be quite nice if that illuminated. So that's R125. So quite impressive things. So if you see here, I do have another R55 with a red end on it, but it's got Transcontinental on the side of it. So this one is the one with the extra motor in it. Let's have a quick look here. So in the 63 catalogue, it was depicted with diesel engine noise, and it got Transcontinental down the side. So the Series 2 TC coaches had Transcontinental on them rather than trying railways. I don't know whether it was done for that. So let's have a quick look at it. So from the outside, apart from that, it's pretty much the same as the one we got on the rails there. So I've had this for some time. It runs, and it does indeed excuse me, make an entertaining noise. However, it is weak and feeble. I don't think it's a magnet pulling problem. It's the way the power is distributed to the motor which drives it. We'll have the top off it in a moment and have a look, but we'll just whip this TC Pacific off the rails. I think that will give us somewhere to play with it. Let's give it there, because there's no way it's going to pull those coaches, because I was experimenting with it earlier and thought I'd have the coaches on there, and we'll pull that. So let's pop that on the rails. Do we see underneath it? Let's have a quick look there. Fairly tidy condition. Those trailing wheels could do with a bit of a clean up there, and it's missing its hook on the coupling on the back, but that's not the end of the world. Let's pop that on the rails. I'm going to have to go and swap over the controllers There we go. Bear with me while we swing round. I don't think that was made for very long. I think it was in the range for a very short period of time. So let's see if we can do this and get the power in the right place this time. Handheld. And it's this handheld over here. So my understanding of it is that there is some type of resistor in there which prevents power from going to one motor and making it go to the other motor. So I think it spins up the X04 to make the noise, and then as you add more power you begin to get power trickling through to the drive motor in the motor bogie. So let's have a go. It does make quite an entertaining noise. And we'll slow that down. It feels very odd when you've got it on the controller. It makes all that racket and you get no motion out of it. So we'll give it one more go. Well, we'll give it several more goes. I've just noticed the lamp isn't illuminating on there. It was earlier on when I was fiddling with it. So when we whip the top off, we'll see if we can. It's probably just the cable unplugged. And this lamp here, it tends to flicker on the video, and the other ones don't. But to the naked eye, that doesn't flicker at all. So it must just operate slightly differently to the others. Let's turn this around and let's go backwards with it. It makes a slightly different noise going backwards, but motors often do make a different noise when they're running in the opposite direction. See that had the power to the motor bogie before the other motor spun up, but the light did come on, didn't it? So I think it is all very crude. Let's give it another go. Let's see if we can slow that down as we approach the TC wagons here. There we go. So we've got a mix of couplings here. Let's see if it'll pull this away. So we'll give it some power, but I think it's going to struggle to pull those. No, it's got them. But it won't pull that rake of coaches. So sorry about that, I was just trying to rotate the camera around like this, and I managed to turn the whole thing off by absent-mindedly pressing the wrong control on the gimbal. So let's give that another go. Let's see if we can wind that up again. So I think the light might be plugged in, it's just whether it gets the power to it or not. Let's give that another go. So it definitely makes noise. Whether it's diesel noise or not is another matter. I'm not convinced of that light. Let's go backwards there. Yeah, I think we might have a floating cable. So I think what I'll do is I'll whip the top off this, and we'll have a look at it. So I'm just going to cut for a moment, and we'll come back to it when I've got the top off that. So there we go. I've taken the top off, and just for comparison, I've taken the top off the other R.55 single-ended diesel we've got sitting there. So that's what one normally looks like there. Again, wiring all fairly tidy in that one. So let's just give that a bit of power so we can just see how that one runs. So I'm pointing the wrong way. So that's the sort of sound knurled wheels biting at the track and eating through the plate in there. So that's what you get there. So let's grab the handheld and we'll have a look at the one with the extra motor. Let's go in a bit tighter and we'll have a look over it first. So that's the electrical arrangement now. I don't fully understand the electrics at play there, so that looks to be a fairly standard X04 type motor. Just sitting there. And there's a standard looking motor bogie. And the wiring all looks original. Let's see if we can come down the other side of it. Actually, I'm not going to be able to get down the other side of there, so what we'll do is we'll pick that up and we'll have a look at it. We'll roll that around. I managed to do that without turning the camera off this time, which is quite good. So I'll just grab hold of that. Let's get a fairly plainish type of background here so we can see over it. So that's the other side of it. Yeah, see, it's all fairly basic. Not much not much use, I don't think. I don't think it's ever seen much track time apart from the broken coupling at the back. And the plug seems to be in there for the lamp, doesn't seem to be loose. So I wonder whether it's just sort of a power distribution type thing. Sometimes it gets enough to light up, and other times it doesn't. I have noticed sometimes the motor bogie jumps into life before the other motor spins up, but I don't know. Let's get back on the rails and we'll give it a go. I won't couple it up with the other things at the moment, and we'll just have a swift look at it. I can't get that on now. Are we on there? There we go. I'm just going to push these wagons back a little bit so we have a little bit more space to play with there. So let's keep an eye on that. See, that lamp does light up. And then we'll go for backwards. It does have a really odd feeling about it because you get all that noise and no motion. And one more time there. And let's hook that up to the wagons and let's see if it'll... See, that motor's not spinning up at all there, is it? Let's go backwards again. And that time it is. Wonder if we've got those. All wonderful and low tech. But I think that's probably it for this week. If we have a look back again next time, we'll see if we can have something else to play with. Goodbye now.